Watch the walkthrough again. Watch it. Because he tells you exactly where he hung up. He's walking back in the direction of the T, and he says, I got off the phone and I continued to my car. Maybe 10 seconds before he got to the T. It was 2 minutes. 2 minutes. He wasn't going back to his car.
I have a Honda Ridgeline, silver Honda Ridgeline, parked right there. I'll meet him right there. So I started walking back. When I got to, I passed here, I looked, I didn't see anything again, and I was walking back to my truck. And then when I got to right about here, he yelled.
All right, where was George Zimmerman for the 2 minutes from when he hung up the phone with police non-emergency to the time of the confrontation? That was a question that the prosecutor gave to the jury. Well, we've got our own lawyers here. We've got our prosecution team, Chris Chestnut and Natalie Jackson. We've got our defense team, Darren Kavanoki, Monica Lindstrom. So here's my question. Where was George Zimmerman for those 2 minutes? Prosecution.
He was killing Trayvon. Natalie and I are going to demonstrate for you. There are inconsistencies not only in the animation, but in the defense's position. So Trayvon's here, and he realizes he's being followed. And he tells Rachel Gentile, you know what? I've lost him. And so he's rounded the corner here. It's dark. He can no longer see him. And then go ahead.
George Zimmerman says, oh, he's run. I won't say the curse word he used, but oh, he's run. He can't see Trayvon. Trayvon can't see him. Trayvon never knows that George Zimmerman got out of the car. So
Correct.
The argument that is put forth that Trayvon laid in wait for George Zimmerman, it's a false argument because he never knew he got out of the car. How would he even know to wait for him?
And Zimmerman's a neighborhood aggressor.
He's talking to his friend thinking he lost the crazy, creepy guy.
And if Trayvon was that aggressive, he'd have just put him out of the truck here. He wouldn't have run from him all the way here to safety at home. He couldn't get home because he cut him off.
Natalie and Chris, we have juror 11 that has a question. Step on up.
Sure. So my question was, there's been a lot of discussion about the gun. How do we know what kind of setup Mr. Zimmerman may have had the gun in? How accessible or visible was it, truly?
Well, we know that it was dark. We don't know anything, and that's what I think the prosecution did effectively. They said, you don't give the benefit of the doubt to George Zimmerman just because he killed the only eyewitness that knows what exactly happened.
But to answer your question, it was in an inside the pants holster, similar to what we have here today. No kind of strap across the top, tucked into his right side on his right hip, with that orange jacket over top of that.
There's actually a conflict on that, which is interesting because in one of Zimmerman's statements, he depicts that he's reaching for the gun at the back of his hip, and then, of course, in court, it became the front of his hip.
It was to the side, you know, but then Mr. Guy tried to stay back here, but it was on his hip. That's what he was saying.
Right. All right, defense team, 2 minutes. Where is George Zimmerman?
The fact that we are even thinking about this and discussing it means that we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened within those 2 minutes. We are guessing.
Can I just follow that up? But we know what George Zimmerman said. He said he hung up here and started walking towards his car, and he got jumped here. It took 23 seconds for him to do it the next day. What's going on the rest of the time?
Exactly. We don't know what's going on, and because the state did not connect all these dots, we have some reasonable doubt.
And the 2 minutes is part of the 4 minutes.
Darren, I got question.
And you're absolutely right. We don't know what happened, and we've seen the depiction of the defense and the prosecution beating this dummy on the ground and, you know, saying that Trayvon did this, that, and the other. There's no DNA. There was no altercation in my mind because there was no DNA. And I'm thinking that the story that they're believing is not true. There was no DNA.
It doesn't matter. The struggle does not matter.
We're in the defense case. We're in the defense case right now. Here's the thing. We know that there are some objective things that we could point to regardless of whether you believe or disbelieve George Zimmerman. And those are the injuries. We know there's the injury to the nose. We know there's the injury to the head. Yes. And these are things that we can rely on to know that George Zimmerman was in this altercation. And so when we start talking about 4 minutes or 2 minutes, the real point is what happens when the two of them connect.
All right.